Your classes are minimum 25 minutes to 28 minutes. Sometimes you're going to have kids that fly through that lesson and you look at the clock and you have like 4 more minutes to go and you're like, oh crap. I am not allowed to stop teaching you until that 25-minute mark. So that's when you get creative and you're like, hey, let's play a game. I have something purple. It's purple. Do you have something purple? And then they're like, oh, they look around, they get their pen. Oh, I have something purple. You can do that. You can, one game that I just played with one of my guys was kind of hangman, but we didn't hang a man. We just started writing out letters, you know, like, I'll show you. I just did like, no. And I said, okay, you guess the letter. It's an animal. He's like, he didn't understand. So I went like this. Huh? It doesn't, on this camera, it'll flip it. Not when you're teaching, it doesn't flip it. So don't worry. This isn't actually a D. Okay, not a B. And he was like, oh. And then I went like this. And he goes, oh, dog. I was like, yeah. So then he caught on and, you know. So there's lots of tips and tricks and things that they help you out with to fill in that gap. On the flip side of things, you might get kids, very often you will get children where you are looking at that clock in the top corner and you're going, oh my gosh, I'm still so far behind and I'm running out of time and you cannot go over 28 minutes. So that's where, as a teacher, our time management skills come into play. You need to realize what are the things that are the most important that you need to focus on. We have like little target chunks and they'll tell you like lesson objectives up at the top of what the kids really need to know so that you know what you need to focus on. Another thing that I always really do when I notice that if I've spent too much time kind of practicing something or if it was a skill that it took them a little bit longer to get and now I'm kind of lagging behind in my lesson, I won't do every single thing on the slide. I'll say, okay, let's just do number 1 and number 3 and then move on. You know, because we did that all the time in class, you know, especially with math problems, only do the odds, you know. So it's little things like that. And with practice, you'll get it. So that's how long the classes are. Which brings me to question number 5. Are the lessons prepared? Yes. This is what is golden. Everything is done for you. No more lesson planning. Praise Jesus. No more lesson planning. None. It's all done for you. It's awesome. It's like getting sub-plans every single day. You just show up and you say, what am I doing? Click. Oh, here it is. And the best thing is that the longer that you teach with them, the more you see the content. You're like, I have already taught this lesson 5 times. I already know it's coming up. And even though it's different every time with every kid that you teach, because as we know, all children are different. All children learn in different ways. You as a teacher will be more comfortable with what you teach. So the lessons are prepared for you. And which brings me to 5.5. Do you get training? Heck yes. You get so much training with this. It is very comprehensive. I was thoroughly impressed with the training. I already made a YouTube video about how impressed I was with the curriculum, with the training, with everything about VIPKID. OMG. They really hit the ball out of the park with this. I mean, it is a phenomenal company that I stand behind. I'm very, very, very glad to be a part of it. So have no fear. You will get all your training. You will do fine. I promise you. You'll do fine. Okay, which brings me to number 6, troubleshooting. But Mandy, what happens if something goes wrong? Well, there's these little guys called the firemen. And they are your best friend. If something happens, as part of the training, what you'll learn is because there are so many people having classes all at the same time on the wonderful world of the internets, there are going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some network connection issues, okay? Which, when you have your first interview, they're going to say, how good is your Wi-Fi? If there's any way that you can hardwire into your modem, that's always better. But because some of the kids that you teach might be in a more, not necessarily rural area, but I mean, China's a humongous country, obviously, duh. And, you know, they service so many kids. You don't really know what kind of internet connection they're going to have depending on where they live. And just like us, you know, there could be a lot of people on the internet at the time. It could be kind of spotty. And so there are things that you need to do on your own before you contact the firemen, which is the internet tech support team. So sometimes you need to just refresh your browser. They recommend that you run the system on Google Chrome. But I have found, especially once you guys start getting students that are your normal students that book you every time. I have this one little guy, I have no idea where he lives, but for some reason, I have to do my lessons on Internet Explorer. Google Chrome messes up all the time with him. Always. There are always connection issues. I don't know why. Internet Explorer works way better for wherever he lives. So when I see him on my schedule, I just boop, pop it on, and I just don't even worry about it. I just know, because that's just how it is. So there are troubleshooting things that you will find in your training that you need to do on your own before you contact the firemen. Then there's like a little button up at the top corner, and you just say firemen, and then a little message screen pops up, and then you can say like, I can't hear my student, or my student can't hear me, or their video went out, or something. And then they walk you through. If it's a network system problem or something, they'll help you. So, and as we all know from teaching, you just got to roll with it. You know, sometimes stuff happens and you just do the best you can and have a smile on your face and be positive. Okay. So question number 7, how long is the contract? It's for 6 months at a time, and then you get renewed. Are subs available? Yes, they are. I started my contract in October, which means that I had to request time off for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. If I messaged them and sent in a little help desk ticket early enough, I did get a week off for Thanksgiving. I got a week off for Christmas. I just let them know, and it did not have any bearings in my contract whatsoever. You do have a couple of days for sick time or things. I need to go back and look at the contract. I'm not really exactly sure how many, so don't take my word for it. But just know that if something happens, that's why there is stuff built in. You don't get paid for a class that you have to cancel 24 hours or less notice. So let's say that your kid wakes up vomiting in the middle of the night and you're like, oh crap, there's no way I can teach in the morning. You need to message the people ASAP and say, I have to cancel my class. That's okay. They'll cancel it for you and they can have somebody else come and take your kids, but just know that you won't get paid for those classes. Well, basically anytime you have to cancel classes on your own, you won't get paid for those. But at least it won't ding you. It won't look bad. So, you know, when you give them a heads up. So for any information, always just read your contract. Number 9, how long is the interview process? Basically, when you click the, hey, I want to do this, they will say, okay, send in your resume. So you do that. Then they'll send you an email and say, great, this looks awesome. We want to talk to you. And they'll set up a time to just kind of have like a brief little Skype kind of interview thing. Just to kind of talk with you one-on-one and see if this might be a good fit. And if that works, then they're going to pass you through to the next level and they'll say, welcome, we want to work with you, and now we want to open up our training to you so that you can take our first practicum. You don't get access to their training unless you pass that first chunk of interview, because obviously they're not going to give you all their awesome stuff to just anybody. You know, you have to pass that first bit. So once you get into that, you get access to a whole bunch of training videos, a whole bunch of awesomeness. You go at your own pace, but they do recommend that you can kind of get it done within X amount of time. I was very motivated. So I think from beginning to end, everything was 3 weeks for me, from the day that I sent in my, hey, I want to do this, to the day that I got my first student. Also, you take your first practicum, they give you feedback, and then you are supposed to take a second practicum and then pass that, and then you can get kids. But for me, because I had so much teaching experience and I did very well on my first practicum, I automatically passed it, and I did not have to take my second practicum. So that is why I was able to go so fast. So just know that. Question number 10, when do I get paid? You get paid once a month from the 10th to the 15th of each month. It is direct deposit into your bank account. And yes, they do start taking out taxes. When I very first started in October, I was an independent contractor and I had to do my own taxes. But then in November, they said that they were changing their policy and we had to submit a W-9. And so now I believe they are taking taxes out. My last paycheck, I don't believe I saw any, but I think starting in January is when they are going to do that. So I'll give you a head up. And then bonus number 11. Oh my gosh, this is the longest video of life. How much does it cost? Well, that's up to you. I just paid $20 for my headset. I went to the dollar store and I got some props, which you can watch my other video about that. A lot of stuff I had from my daughter. And then you just need an orange t-shirt. I got mine at Walmart. You can get it on Amazon. And that's it. So I love you guys. Thank you for watching this super long video. I hope I answered all of your questions. And use my referral link if you want to sign up, if you think this is for you. I absolutely love it. The kids are amazing. They love to learn. They are so cute. And I mean, honestly, since teaching in October, I've had maybe 4 kids out of all the kids I've taught, 4 that I can think of where I just thought in my head, oh, this is so hard. I am just counting down the minutes until this class is over. Only 4. Come on, that's amazing. I mean, it's really amazing. It's so good. I love it. It makes me love teaching again. They're so cute. So, I love you. Bye.